Hi there, it's Catherine here from Inkfinger Cat, and it's a Scrapping Saturday post. I used these papers a few weeks ago, and I pulled them out again and decided to make another page with them. They are old Stampin' Up papers. And this time, very unusually for me, because I'm more often than not, it's sort of like one or two photos, but I actually managed 3 photos on this layout of my parents. So this is my lovely mummy and daddy. This was a picture taken back these were pictures taken back in March. We were all out for lunch for my daughter's 19th birthday at I'd say a local garden centre, but for anybody who does happen to know Bent's Garden Centre, then no, it's not just a garden centre. It's a really lovely place to go, and the food's lovely. Quite pricey for for lunch, but it is always beautiful, and it's a nice place to go for a little trip out. So I had a vague idea of having a lot of that wavy paper you can see in the background visible, but it does change a little bit as I go on. And I do sort of fiddle around with it. I didn't have a specific sketch I was using or anything along those lines. I just wanted to use these papers. It doesn't 100% go with my mum's dress, but it's sort of like a combination between my dad's shirt and my mum's dress is basically what I end up doing. And I just thought that those worked. And then it ended up being quite a busy page because I ended up doing something with the background. So at this point, I know I want those 3 pictures to be sort of vaguely like that. I'm going to distress all the edges just to give that bit of texture to the papers. And then I decide that actually I'm going to trim this down, doesn't fit in my thing, and I'm just going to make it into a smaller square so that it will fit in the centre of the page. And that's basically what I've decided I'm going to do, is make a central panel for my cluster, and then eventually I'll end up adding it to the background. So unusually, what I normally do is when I'm making my clusters is I tend to make them as clusters and then attach them. But for some reason, I decided to just attach everything as I went along. I don't know what I was doing. I was listening to an audiobook was what I was actually doing. I was probably concentrating on that rather than anything else. Hey ho. So for the square picture of the 2 of them, I decided I wanted to matte and layer that and give it a little bit of dimension. So I do end up adding some craft foam behind it just to layer it up and make it a little bit higher than the 2 photos. So this is the point where I start sticking things down. It's just not like me. I don't normally stick things this quickly onto a scrapbook, actually onto the background papers. I don't know what I was thinking, but there you go. So this is me adding a little bit of, it's just children's craft foam, and I tend to use a bit of glue as well as some sticky tape. Now I stuck it down and it wasn't very straight, but you'll see later I fiddle around with it. And then I suddenly spotted these pieces of like gold laser cut that are Stampin' Up pals, and they're like proper rectangles, but I really wanted to use some of the leaves, and I thought, oh, that'd look nice. So I sort of fiddly cut out some of the leaf branches, and it works fine. Even though they were obviously originally a panel, you can't really tell when it comes to the final piece. And it was just to add in a little bit of the gold element. For those those that have seen pages from me previously might know I'm slightly addicted with the 49&Market leaves. And I was trying my hardest not to pull them out. That's what was basically happening. It was, don't pull those out and use them again, because I got slightly obsessed and used them on nearly everything. So this was my alternative, was those gold ones. I then grabbed this stencil from my stash. I have no idea where I've got this from. I have no idea whose stencil it is, but I just took my vintage photo distressing and basically created a pattern paper for that background, so it becomes really quite busy when I've finished, but I really like it. I think it works. I'm wondering whether I perhaps needed to have put a separation layer in between the patterns, but do you know what? I'm sure it's fine. Now at this point I stopped sticking things down, which is a bit insane because I do start sticking all of these sentiments down, but I've completely not stuck the that central panel down, and I totally forgot that I hadn't done that. So these are Birdsong chipboards, and I just thought that they worked well, and I really like the Precious Moments. That is the main sentiment that I go for. But yeah, I've completely forgotten I've not actually adhered that square down, and so the Moments is stuck to the background but not the actual central panel. I don't know what I was thinking, but there you go. So I carry on. I use these chipboard shapes and things like the hearts and the butterflies, and I love that floral panel that's in the top left. And I just start sticking all these bits and pieces down. And I think it might be around about this point. Oh, these are puffy stickers from a totally different collection, but I added those in. And I think it's at this point. Oh no, it's when I'm writing my, might even be later than this. Anyway, I start to write my journal in, and yeah, at this point, oh, I know, yeah, I'm gonna die cut using a Hey Little Magpie die, a little tag to just go towards the top of the main photo of the two of them to be able to put the date on. And I think this is the point where I go, oh, I actually haven't stuck this down. So yeah, this was, as I say, when you're concentrating on something else, which in this case was an audiobook, I didn't really think about what I was doing at this point, and completely forgot that I had not stuck it down. This was the point where I'd realised that this was a bit squiffy and I wasn't happy, so I went in again, pulled it back up very gently. It doesn't matter that it ripped the paper underneath, popped some more adhesive down, and now I'm happier that that's straighter than it was. So I'm just having a little bit of a think about my final elements, and I end up with some Tim Holtz stickers, these little chit chat stickers. I've had these for ages, and I just pop some around. They're in the kind of the craft colour, and I pop them around the page. And then final touches is some gold gems, just 3 gold gems from Spellbinders. I just thought that added a little bit more gold, brought those leaves in a little bit more. Job's a good one. So I'm really happy with this page. As I say, I think I probably should have added a little separation, like a solid colour behind that middle square, so that it just gave it separation from the background, but I still think it works nicely. I enjoyed making it. That's the point, isn't it? That's the point. So I hope you've enjoyed, and it's been good to use up some of these papers. There is still a little bit left, but not much left in my stash, so you'll see what happens. You never know what they'll get used to do. So please do thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Leave me a comment below. And until next... Oh, subscribe. Until next time, though. Bye-bye.